Hey guys, this is John from Desk, and it is Thursday at 11 o'clock, or almost 11 o'clock. And so far, Desk has been publicly announced as launching for 4 hours. I shared, or at least published the blog post about 7 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will admit, though, the app was in the store yesterday. I just wanted to make sure that I had time to do some tests with linkages and make sure that it populated to all of the stores universally around the globe. For those who don't know, you can actually determine what stores geographically and per country that you'd like your app to be sold in. I can't imagine why you would preclude or not include any particular country for sale. I'm not sure why that makes any sense whatsoever. But you can actually check different boxes of all the major countries, not just major, actually every country that Apple sells products in. And so it takes some time to populate, to propagate to those variety of different stores. And so I just wanted to give it a full 24 hours. I think that's smart. So if you ever do the Mac App Store or the Apple Store, CDNs, caching, propagation to the other stores, you should give that time. Because if you say, hey, I'm going to launch at a particular time and it's not propagated, then no one can download it. So that's fairly useless. So we had some people. We had actually had 19 people who purchased the app yesterday and who just discovered it organically or in some way or form. I shared it amongst my friends and stuff as well. Anyway, so 4 hours. We'll see if we can match 19 sales today. That would be great. But who knows? It could totally suck. But anyway, I had a great question for today's Desk Developer Docs, Desk Dev Docs. Is this number 3 or 4? I can't even remember. I'll get it right in the title. But Nathan asked a question on the launch post about how I stay focused over the last 350 so days that I've been working on this app. And I'm going to quote him directly here, and then I'll try to answer that question. Nathan goes, I just got the email about the launch and decided to read the blog post. I'm working on a piece of simple software and just can't muster the energy to get myself through it. How did you stay focused? Did you have other projects competing for your time? And then he congratulated me on the software, and he said it was beautiful, which is awesome. Thank you so much for that comment. I think it's beautiful, although, beauty is a matter of opinion in a lot of ways. So to answer this question, I'm going to try to attack it from a number of different angles. The easiest question to answer, though, specifically, is the other project competing for my time. And yes, there are a number of projects that are competing for my time always. The largest project, personally, is my family. I have been married 9 years, coming on a decade, and I have 2 beautiful girls, 8 and almost 4, or she'll be 4 in January. And that is a large project, or part of my life, which I give an incredible amount of time to, and have been giving more time to. In fact, I now coach my oldest soccer team, and do that 3 times a week, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and now up to 2 games on Saturday. So that's a large time commitment. It is very helpful for me because it really landlocks me to be available and present for my family and for my girls throughout the week. So if I'm going to schedule travel, it's going to be Tuesday through Wednesday essentially, or Thursday morning. So for instance, I'm heading to Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks, and I scheduled my flight late Tuesday after soccer practice. And I'm coming back in, and I'm going to be able to do the soccer game, which is a big deal. Don't want to miss the soccer game on Saturday. And that's just how I'm going to do that. So that's a big project, and that's always competing for my time. And for many of you, that's a point of competition in your life as well. Professionally, though, I have a large project, if you will. I'm a partner in a company called The Iron Yard, and we teach code education. We teach software, or we teach people to become software programmers through Python, JavaScript, iOS or in Swift, Ruby on Rails, and a number of other pairing technologies, platforms, et cetera, et cetera. That's been amazing. That is a fast-paced, growing startup, which has really been very exciting for me. In many ways, it's the first role that I've had in 17 years as a professional that is not non-technical. I have core commit access to all of our systems, but I really don't, and that's a good thing. My role really lies in the human capital area. I am attracting, hiring, recruiting, retaining, coaching, and counseling our existing staff and making sure that they are operating with extreme excellence. And I've loved that. So that really is my full-time gig, if you will. It's a full-time salaried role with family benefits, which is awesome because I need the benefits. And yeah, that's been going really well. So that's my 9-to-5er, if you will. I'm a 9-to-5er, although for those who are familiar with startup world, you work much more than 9 to 5. So where did that leave Desk? Well, Desk app has been a large part of my life. Again, for the last 350 days, I've been actively developing. And I will spend an incredible amount of time in the mornings and at night working on those, and even in the weekends. And I did a kind of a retrospect, if you will, on the time that I estimated, which is into the thousands of hours. Clearly more than the time that I've actually spent, but certainly in terms of my scope, it's been quite large, and it's been very difficult at times to stay on track. I had actually originally estimated, I think somewhere like 700 hours or something, or 3 months or so of development time from the day I started, which was November 12th, 2013, and maybe a launch in February, March. It is obviously almost November, so I got that way wrong. The scope dramatically shifted, and I shared that in the last kind of Desk Dev doc, or DDD, D3, maybe say that, D3. And that's been great. I have no problems with that, and that's been very healthy. I think that's what happens with applications as you kind of self-actualize or self-realize or progressive revelation, if you will. They become bigger in scope. So, all that to say, how did I stay focused on finishing out an application that I desperately wanted to ship and to deliver to a public that was waiting for it, a market that I think would be nice to target and to see how they would react to it. And that's because I have what I just call boundaries. These are times in my schedule where I'm dedicated to writing code. And there's a lot of flexibility within these boundaries, but it helps me a lot time very intentionally on the development. And so when I'm in those particular periods of the day, I am actively and intentionally developing, building and writing software for the actual product. Now, whether I do that or not is an entirely different thing. But pragmatically and tactically, that's all I can control, is the boundaries in which I allot my development cycles for. When I get in those periods of time, whether it's early in the morning or late at night, so there are some times where I'm just like, fuck it. Like I just don't feel like I want to do it. I'm maybe tired and I want to do something else, maybe play video games or hang out with my wife or watch a movie or something else. But that intentionality is the first thing that you can control. You can't control your emotions all the time or the way that you feel during the day, but you certainly can control the areas of which you try to develop. So those are boundaries, and they're loose. They pivot and sway here and there. The other thing is that, though, is much more emotional, I suppose, is much more subjective, is there is an internal mechanism within me that wants to ship. I'm constantly wanting to ship and get it off my plate. And for a long time, the driving motive to ship a product was actually the excitement of the next project. In other words, I've been asked this multiple times, John, what's your favorite project that you've ever done? What's your favorite app that you've ever built? And my answer historically has been, that's easy, the next one. And so I've been motivated to finish my existing application because I wanted to get to the next one. The thing with this application, though, is that I didn't really have a next one. There's no other application that I've actively thinking about working on at scale, at a large scale, if you will. Wind cleaner right here. There's no other application that I'm actively trying to build. Jeez, it's so loud. And so the internal drive to ship it was very grinding. But because the app was so personal to me, and because it's something that I wanted for myself, there was a lot of internal motivation, a lot of kind of a self-initiative, if you will. Because even if no one bought this app, if everyone hated it, I would still use it. And I think that's the principle that's most important, Nathan, is that when you build for yourself, you will always be motivated to finish. When you build for other people, now that's where things kind of think can get a little hairy. Money can certainly dilute or even, push you to finish. But if you've lived long enough, money is not a very good motivator for a lot of people, and certainly not for me. At least now in my life. At one point it was, to my own detriment. But so yeah, I wanted to finish this because this was important to me. And I think building for yourself is vitally important, especially if you're a small kind of indie developer and you're building for yourself anyway. So I hope that gives you some context of kind of my thought process and how I went about it in the last year or so. And maybe it'll give you at least some things to think about in terms of how I'm going to stay focused on delivering a product and getting out the door and just shipping it. Hopefully that helps, and hope you guys have a great rest of the week as we move into the weekend. And thank you so much for all of you guys who have downloaded the app and written about it and shared it on Twitter and Facebook. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. I really super appreciate that. And I will see you guys online.